So guys, let's begin today's class. Acha, before we begin, I am really sorry I haven't given you the answers to the last quiz yet, and also I have not given you the quiz I promised on Sunday. But I have been very busy making your study material, which I have to give. I have to finalize your study material by the end of this month. So you will don't worry, you will have enough things to practice, and I am making your study material, so I may not be able to give you any worksheets to practice on logical for January. Okay, but in the beginning of February, you will get your study material, which will have ample number of passages and ample number of questions that you can practice from. Just give me like 10 days to finish your modules. Okay, and anyway, we will continue with our discussion on the basics of arguments. So, let's see what is the conclusion in each of the following arguments. So, the first argument is it's a beautiful day. We should go to the park. Besides, I need some exercise. Now, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is the main argument, main statement. So, suppose what is an argument? An argument is a statement supported by a claim. Now, we should go to the park. We should go to the and notice this. Here it is written, besides, I need some exercise, which means this is not the main point. This is not the main issue of the sentence. The main issue is we should go to the park. It's a beautiful day is also not the main issue because what does it's a beautiful day say? We should go to the park means why should we go to the park? Because it's a beautiful day. Then what is the phrase it's a beautiful day? It's a beautiful day is the premise because it supports the main statement or the conclusion or the argument. It supports the argument. Premise supports the argument. Okay, we should go to the park. Besides, I need some exercise, so we should go to the park is the conclusion. Second example, that movie has had horrible reviews. Coolie number one, my sister saw it and said it was boring and her friend spotted three mistakes. Pick a different movie. I am sure we can find something better. अब इसमें what is the conclusion, the main point? देखो, all this have horrible reviews. My sister saw it; it was boring. Her friend spotted three mistakes. This is all beating around the bush, getting to the main point, which is I don't want to go to that movie. Pick something else. So we should pick a different movie, or pick a different movie is the main point or the conclusion of this set of arguments. And the premise is there are multiple premises. The first premise is the movie has had horrible reviews. The second premise is my sister saw it and said it was boring. Third premise is her friend spotted three mistakes. Okay. Now, what is a claim? Basically, a claim is a statement about the truth or value or something. We have all discussed this. This is just revision before you can practice. Okay. So, claim is a statement about the truth or value of something that is either true or false. Okay, we have discussed this at length, understood it. उसके बाद argument is a conclusion and a supporting premise together. Conclusion is the main claim or point in an argument that's supported by premises. ठीक है? Premises, pieces of evidence that support the conclusion. Shantanu, do you want to say something?
No, sir, no, sir, sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, now standard argument form. This is what we have discussed. Okay, so now let's practice. Identify the premises and conclusion. But before that, a good quote to start with. An education isn't how much you have committed to memory or even how much you know. It's being able to differentiate what you do know and what you don't. What is the conclusion here? What is the conclusion of this quote based on all we have discussed last week? An education isn't how much you have committed to memory or even how much you know. It's being able to differentiate between what you do know and what you don't. Okay, so let's they do today's questions. Umang, you want to say something? No, no, no. His mic is also. Okay, anyway, let's begin today's question and then you'll see. It's very simple. Okay, we'll come back to this. Next. Identify the premises and conclusion. So you have to rewrite. I hope you all have your notebooks ready. You have to rewrite the argument in standard form. What is the standard form? To write the argument in the standard form, you first identify which claim is the conclusion. Then you identify which claims, and if and at any point you have any confusion, you stop me and ask me. If you forget what is argument, if you forget what is premise, conclusion, claim, identify which claim is the conclusion. Step one. Step two, identify which claims are premises supporting conclusions. Now, there can be multiple premises also. So if there are multiple premises, you write premise one, premise two, and then conclusion. Okay, for all the arguments that we see now. Standard. This is the standard form. First, you have to identify what is the conclusion. Only then you can identify what are the claims that lead to that conclusion. You understand? What about this? All black dogs are warm-blooded because they are mammals, and all mammals are warm-blooded. There are two premises here and one conclusion. Identify them. लिखते जाओ, लिखते जाओ, लिखते जाओ. We'll discuss this. I'll give you 2 minutes to think. Okay. I'll give you 2 minutes to think.
I think the conclusion is all.
Don't answer now.
Okay,
Don't answer
okay,
now.
okay.
After, Achha, you tell me. Let all the others
The
also write.
chat,
Let
I
others
will write.
also write. I'm
I will
asking
write.
you to write now. Let others also write. Then we can check. I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, what is the conclusion?
All black dogs are warm blooded.
Black dogs are warm-blooded. Correct. And what are the premises?
They are mammals, and all mammals are warm blooded.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Because is the word that indicates a premise. Very good. Any questions? Everyone has understood? Okay. Let's move forward. He must be a good basketball player. After all, he's tall, and all tall people are good basketball players. Again, two premises, one conclusion. And 2 minutes 35, 40, 37. Oh, so, what is the conclusion and what are the premises?
Sir, he must be a good basketball player. It is conclusion.
Okay, and what are the premises? Umam.
Sir, yes, sir. He is tall, and
Okay,
all tall people are basketball players.
correct, correct, correct. After all is the indicator to the premise here. Next, now I'll give you 1 minute because you're all getting it correct. So the weather report is calling for blizzard conditions. Driving could be hazardous. Stay here tonight and you can head back to college after the road is plowed tomorrow. Two premises, one conclusion. Okay, guys, any of you? What is the conclusion and what are the premises?
I think the conclusion is driving could be hazardous, and the premise one will be the weather report is calling for billet condition, and second is stay here tonight and you can head back to college after the road is plowed tomorrow.
Let's see whether you are right. So, the conclusion here, first identify the conclusion. What is the main thing that is being trying to say, Akshan? Is the main thing that driving could be hazardous, or the main thing ki stay here tonight and go tomorrow because driving could be hazardous, as the weather report is calling for desert conditions? What makes more sense?
Just stay here tonight.
Stay here
And
tonight. So,
yes,
what will be the conclusion? Stay here tonight and you can head back to college after the road is plowed
yes,
tomorrow. That
because
is the conclusion.
yes, sir.
Two premises. The weather report is calling for blizzard conditions. Therefore, driving could be
Hazard.
hazardous. What about this? Start on your homework now. You will get done earlier and still have time to watch the movie with us. It shouldn't take too long, and your father can help you if you need it. This is a tough one or a very easy one. Multiple premises. What is the conclusion? First, find the conclusion. Okay. What is the conclusion? What is the conclusion here? Guys, anyone?
So the first line, start on your homework now.
Is the conclusion correct? So then the other two are the premises. You will get done earlier and still have time to watch the movie with me. Shouldn't take long. What about this one? If all employers require their employees to take a flu shot, then less people would take sick days. This would result in increased productivity for the nation as a whole. Yes, Chakshita, are you trying to say something? What is the conclusion?
So this would result in increased productivity for the nation as a whole.
And the premises?
So the other two will be the premise.
Hmm?
So if all employers required their employees to take a flu shot, and then less people would take sick days.
So, absolutely correct. The flu shot would increase the productivity for nation as a whole. Conclusion, absolutely correct. The first premise is if all employers require their employees to take a flu shot, then less people would take sick days. And then what is the second premise? What is the implied premise? In your exam, you will get a question. कि हाँ, what does the author imply? What does this statement imply?
So, sick days would lead to increased I mean, less sick days would lead to increased productivity.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Less people taking sick days would increase productivity for the nation. Very good. Well done. I hope you understood, Shantanu.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Anyone else? So, what about this one? Less than 1% of the people receiving parking tickets appeal those tickets. Therefore, one cannot claim that the parking officers are issuing unwarranted citations. Okay, what is the conclusion? And also, guys, you can send me the answers on chat anytime you want. Also, yeah. So, what is the conclusion? Hi, Mahima, are you with us? Can you tell us what the conclusion is? Yeah. Ashank, what about you? What is the
I,
conclusion?
I think the one cannot claiming that the parking officers are issued unwanted citations.
Okay,
The,
what is the first premise?
less than 1% receiving the parking ticket appeal those tickets. I am confused between first and second premise.
Correct, correct. This is the first premise.
Yes,
What
sir.
is the second premise? Implied one. What do you think? Are you or are you confused? You don't know. Think,
Sir,
think.
I think implied one is less than 1% of people receiving the parking ticket cannot claim that parking officer are issuing unwanted citations.
Then you are summarizing the
Yes,
two sentences into one sentence. That is not the second premise. You are summarizing the sentence.
the parking tickets appeal, one cannot claim that.
सोचो सोचो फर्स्ट है कि हाँ less than 1% of the people receive parking tickets appeal ठीक है less than 1% of the people who get parking tickets appeal. Third statement is this is a third statement. Therefore, one cannot claim that the parking officers are issuing unwarranted citations. So, what will be the second statement? That is the question. Which of the following can be the second statement? A, B, C, D, four options you have to answer. That is basically one kind of question that can come. There are 7, 8 types of question. Only that can ask one type is this. They will give you three sentences. One sentence will be in the passage. One sentence. The first or the third sentence will be in the passage. Other one will be in the question, and the second one will be in the options. You have to pick the correct one. So इसीलिए हम लोग इसको practice कर रहे हैं. What is the second statement here? Umang, what do you think is the second statement here? Umang is also not with us. Mimansha, what about you?
So I think 99% of the people are issuing unwarranted citations.
I don't understand. Come again.
Like it's written over here, less than 1% of the people
Huh.
receiving parking tickets appeal those tickets. So like this can be inferred like 99% of people receiving parking tickets, like they are issuing unwarranted
They are not
citations.
appealing. They are not appealing, right?
Like yeah, they are not appealing.
They are not appealing. Acha. Then what about the how is that supporting the second statement? Second claim. The second claim is therefore one cannot claim that the parking officers are issuing unwarranted citations. So I will simplify this for you. The third set statement is or the third claim is parking officers are not issuing wrong tickets. Okay. First statement is 99% of people who get tickets don't appeal. That is the first sentence. 100% correct. You have got it. This is just a tricky way of writing how it is given in the slide. Nahi, so it's a very simple thing. There's only 99% of people who get parking ticket don't appeal. Third statement. Therefore, parking officers are issuing only correct tickets. What is the second statement? What is the second claim which will support the third claim? You discussed the first claim, Mimamsa. What is the second claim? Chalo, let's see what the second claim is. The second claim is that people only appeal when they get wrong parking tickets or unwarranted parking tickets. People only appeal unwarranted citations. Excuse me. So that is the second premise. Understood? Ashank, Mimansha,
Yes, sir.
Mahima, Umang, any doubts, any questions, any issues? So let's do one thing. Some people are already doing that. You guys also send your answers to me in chat now first, then we'll discuss together. Okay, whatever you think. Ashank, Mimansha, and all the others. Let's do that. Chalo. There are two arguments here. One is the main argument, one is the secondary argument. Both arguments have three parts, a conclusion each and two premises. Now, what are the two arguments? You have to identify each element, okay? You shouldn't take that job. The pay is lousy. Lousy means bad, poor, which will make it hard for you to pay your bills because the pay is lousy, the pay is not good. Lousy means not good. It will make it hard for you to pay your bills, and that will make you unhappy. And because you can't pay your bills, you will be sad, you won't have good quality of life, you will be unhappy. So, what is the main argument and its premises, two premises, main conclusion, and what is the secondary argument along with its conclusion and its two premises? How much time do you want, guys? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes? And give me the entire answer in one text only. Otherwise, it gets very difficult keeping track of 7, 8 conversations.
Sir, can both the arguments have the same conclusion?
Can both the arguments have the same conclusion? You give me your answer, you give me all the elements, both the main argument and the secondary argument, and then we'll
Okay.
discuss all together, okay?
Okay.
If you think it has the same conclusion, then write the same conclusion. You may be correct. I don't know. None of us know. We'll see in the next slide whether you are correct or not. Okay, Umang, and what about the elements? What about the secondary argument? What is the conclusion in this argument? What are the premises? What are the premises and the conclusion of the secondary argument? You have to answer that also now. So, will anyone want to take a stab at this? What is the conclusion of the main argument? What is the conclusion of the? Acha, wait, I've got an answer. Main answer. Chalo, this has. Chalo, I've got some answers. Let's see how many of you are correct, how many of you are not, and why. The main argument is you shouldn't take your job. So, Chakshita, you got the one argument correct, but it was the main argument or not the secondary argument. Okay, and Ashank correct, conclusion correct. John also, that is the secondary conclusion. The first main conclusion is you should not take that job. Chamimansha, other than the premise two of the secondary argument, absolutely correct. But that was also that you would have gotten. I think it was a typo or something. You missed writing it. Yeah, that is what I think. Shantanu, do you have any issues with there being separate conclusions for both arguments? Or are you chill with it? I just want to know, bro.
Yes, I was just, I'm still trying to analyze it. Like,
You're trying to analyze it.
yeah.
So, what is the, let's analyze this. What is the main thing that is being said? The main thing that is being said is not the pay is lousy. The pay is lousy is about the job. It's not about it being hard for you to pay your bills. That is also about the job. It is not about making you unhappy or happiness is important for life because that is also about the job here. All these three claims are about the job. So, what is the main conclusion? You shouldn't take the job. Now, what are the premises to it? The first premise is the lousy pay will make it hard for you to pay your bills. Okay. Not being able to pay your bills will make you unhappy. ठीक है. This much is very easy. This much we have covered in our previous examples also. Now, there is another argument. It is not the main point made in the statement or in the like sequence of in the statements, but it is present here. It is not as essential, but it is also an argument being made. What is an argument? An argument is a claim supported by a premise and containing a conclusion. Sorry, containing a conclusion supported by a premise. That's what an argument is. So the job will make you unhappy because you will not be able to pay your bills. It will be hard for you to pay your bills, and because of that, you will be not being able to pay your bills will make you unhappy. That is the secondary argument. Any questions, issues, doubts, concerns?
So, in the secondary argument, like what's
Mhm.
the difference between premise 1 and 2?
So first premise, the first premise connects the main argument to the secondary argument. So the main argument is about not taking the job. And why shouldn't you take the job? That is the second question that will come to the whoever, if someone comes to you and says, don't take that job, you say, why? So then they will say, it is hard for you to pay your bills. Okay. And not being able to pay your bills will make you unhappy. So the second premise, the conclusion is that that job will make you unhappy. Okay. That is the second conclusion, the secondary conclusion. Now, what is the first premise? First premise is that in that job, it will be hard for you to pay your bills. If you say that it will make you unhappy, then it is implied that there is a premise that not being able to pay your bills makes you unhappy.
Okay, yes, got it.
Understood? Okay. Let's go ahead with our discussion. Now, the following argument consists of several conclusions, and you have to write the claims in standard form in the chart on the next slide. This is huge. Okay, so you won't do. Please don't write this in the chat box. I will go crazy, and I will have to spend the entire class just reading those chats and making sense of them. So write it in a sheet of paper, and we'll discuss it. Okay. You spend too much time playing video games. You are not getting enough sleep and your grades are slipping. I think you need to change your daily routine, make a list of your priorities. If you don't, I think you're headed for big trouble. Write the claims in standard form in the chart on the next slide. You may have multiple conclusions. Support each conclusion with at least one premise written on, at least one premise per conclusion. And some premises make support multiple conclusions. So, and write as many argument standard argument forms as needed. Okay, as many arguments as you can find. Okay, so it's 7:48. It's going to be 7:48. So how much time do you want, guys? Just someone tell me how much time do you want for this?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Chalo, I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, guys. Now that show off is done, I'll give you 5 minutes. Yeah. So I have got some answers, but I am not going to look at them. They're huge. So just think about this, guys. Think about this. How many arguments are there? How many conclusions are? This is your only homework for next class. This is your homework for next class. Take a screenshot of this if you want. Take a screenshot of this slide. I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. Then take a screenshot of this slide. Write your answers and send them to me before next class. Okay.
So can you show the previous slide once again?
Yes, sure. Just take a screenshot, na. Don't write the instructions.
Yes,
You are
I'm on laptop, so like it takes some time to capture the screenshot.
Mhm.
Done, sir.
So how many conclusions are we supposed to make out of these
However
lines?
many you can find, however many you think are conclusions.
Okay.
That is the. This is just to try to understand if you have understood what we have discussed for the past 2 weeks. My classes will go this way only. A lot of practice, little theory, then a lot of practice, then a little theory, then a lot of practice. Chalo. Now coming to recognition of good arguments. In your exam, if you have seen the question paper from 2020, you would have seen that there were questions about which of the following statements strengthens this argument or that argument or main argument or main idea of the passage. Did you notice were there questions like that?
Yes, sir.
नोटिस किया हाँ क्वेश्चन आया था ऐसा तो अगर स्ट्रेंथन पूछ रहा है तो our next inference, the first inference from strengthening arguments, statements that strengthen arguments should be there could be questions on statements that weaken arguments. And were there questions on weakening arguments? Which of the following statements weaken argument? क्लास 2020 में कोई क्वेश्चन था वैसा? हाँ या नहीं?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What question was that? You guys, you have had one. Okay, one of the first thing that you do whenever you prepare for a competitive exam is okay, there are two things that you have to do before beginning your preparation at any stage. First, you have to open the syllabus so that you know what is it that you will be tested on. Okay, and then in the next tab, you have to open the past year question papers, previous year question papers, because that will give you the indication of how that syllabus is tested in this exam. Open the syllabus, then open the past year, previous year question papers, and try to match how many questions come from each section, how many questions come from each topic, each issue. Essay you have to analyze. And you guys have had this new pattern exam for 1 year. Think about your friends who are giving JE, who are giving medical exam. They have to go through and understand and analyze and break down like 10, 20 years of previous year question papers. You only have to do one. So, okay, I'm giving you one more homework. And the whole deadline for this homework, and this is very important, okay, this is this, if you do this homework, then 50% you are already selected in top 5 NIQ. 50% selection done. Just doing this one thing. And what is that one thing? You will share with me a handwritten document with your own analysis of how many questions came from every single topic of logical reasoning in last year's CLAT. And what were the, and just your breakdown of what were the issues from which general knowledge questions were asked. Okay. 31st of January, you have 10 days and very few questions for 10 days. Let's do, even if you do five questions one day, one passage one day, easily, simply done. So that is what you have to do. Okay. सिलेबस ओपन करना, सिलेबस में कीवर्ड्स दिया होगा, हर लॉजिकल में कीवर्ड्स है, जैसे सिलोजिज्म है, जैसे तुम्हारा इन्फेरेंसेस है, जैसे स्ट्रेंथनिंग स्टेटमेंट्स आर स्ट्रेंथन आर्ग्यूमेंट्स, वीकेंड आर्ग्यूमेंट्स, ये है। वैसे कीवर्ड्स में अरेंज करते आना, टैबुलेट whatever question has been asked in that keyword and just send me that document. Take a picture, send it to me on WhatsApp. Don't send it to me on Telegram. Shank has my number. If you guys want, you can take my number from him, and please just contact me on WhatsApp. I don't use Telegram too much, so even if you send me messages, I will see them like 3 days, 4 days later, and that won't be good for you. Why should I lie? Huh. I've even stopped posting things on Telegram now. I will only like post things on the app now. I have decided. I am done with that app. Yes, Shantanu.
So you didn't share the logical reasoning assignment for this week that you said
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we discussed like in the beginning of the class. So I am making study material right now.
Okay.
So I have to finish your study material and I have to get to Vishnu by like I have to give the first one after like on Monday, and then I have to give like the rest of them by end of January, like 31st. So I have 10 days, 11 days to do all the modules of logical.
How many modules are gonna be there?
Let's see.
Okay.
We'll see. It depend, like I'm just making for critical, so you will get, at least you will get like 20, 21 modules that.
So 20 modules as in like 20 assignments or
No, no,
20.
no, modules, as in they will have multiple questions, they will have a material,
Okay, okay.
and they will have questions that you can solve. Yes, Chakshita.
So also the answers for the
Yeah, yeah,
that
same,
50
same.
questions.
Answers also. I will upload on the app after 31st. Okay. You will have enough questions to practice. Don't worry. You will have enough questions to practice. I will give you a question. There will be questions in your module also, study material.
Okay, okay, sir.
Then on 31st, like after you get your study material, I will take an extra class in the weekend and show you how to just go through and how to practice and what you have to, what is important, what is not important from for you. Okay, that will only be for you guys because we are doing classroom program also, so you don't have to study every single thing. You have to do all the questions though. Questions तो ये करना जरूरी है. ठीक है? There will be all side sorts of questions. There will be multiple choice questions. There will be short form answer form questions. There will be questions based on passages. There will be multiple questions based on concepts, single statement questions, and then some practice questions on passages, so that you get the conceptual understanding as well as. And this is only for, I can only vouch for my subject. I don't know for others. But yeah, Shantanu.
So we will be getting module for GK as well.
GK as well. GK तो so the क्लैट का ये क्या बोलते हैं, syllabus says that you have to know about the current affairs of 2 years, right?
Yeah.
2 years before the exam. So January se to I'll definitely give you January 2020. From January 2020 to May 2021. So that is like good 17 months. And 17 months ka GK, 17 months ka questions, okay. And then I will also give you, if after that you are alive and I am also alive, after that much of work, 17 modules, and if you solve after, if you solve 17 modules, all 17 of those modules, then I will give you from before January 2020 also.
But CLAT tends to focus more on the second half of the year, now for GK.
हाँ तो you will get second half of the year also ना.
Okay, okay.
20 January 2020 से you are getting. तो उसमें तो if you want to focus more on second, we will focus on every single thing. We will have revision classes also. So in those revision classes, I will take like a long class, 2 hours, 2 and a half hours. उसमें we will discuss like एक month का we'll do. और like 3 hour class में एक month, हाँ 3 hour class में एक month खत्म. वैसे करके we'll take like, I'll take like 15 क्लासेस में तो खत्म हो जाएगा करंट अफेयर्स वैसे करके. और फिर जो तुम लोगों को कंपेंडिया मिलेगा, मटेरियल मिलेगा, उसमें भी काफी मटेरियल रहेगा, डोंट वरी.
Okay, sir.
जीके आल्सो यू गेट. एंड any other questions, any other issues? अच्छा हाँ, if you have any suggestions for your modules, then please give them now. If there's something that you specifically want, कि हाँ जैसे कि हाँ कोई बोले कि हाँ मुझे तो सिलोजिज्म के 500 सवाल चाहिए, I want to make 500 questions on syllogism, then I will have to give you 500 questions on syllogism. So if you have any such special request, now is the time.
So there will be questions for CLAT and for other law entrance exams as well, na, like for both the patterns.
So my modules, so modules will be first will have questions based on concepts. That's the kinds of questions we are doing right now. Okay.
Okay.
And then we will have passage based questions. That will be my module. Non-CLAT exams के लिए we have a separate module. उसमें that module is already has been prepared. उसका काम अभी चल रहा है. You will get everything in February. If everything goes as planned, then you will get your material in the beginning of February only. तो भी उसमें you will get a separate module for the non-CLAT exams, but other modules, because basically our fundamentals are the same, basics are the same. It is just the kind of questions that are different. So questions के लिए what you want practice, for practice you want material, for material you want mocks, you will get mocks, you will get app mocks, you will get module mocks.
Okay, sir.
So you don't have to worry about that. You will get enough practice. What you have to worry about is practicing every single question in the module. If you practice everything, so the 50% work of getting into your dream college, whichever is your dream college, 50% of the work is linking syllabus to the previous year question. And what is the previous year question for you? Because you have only had one question. So the sample paper and the last year's paper. Then what is the other 50%? Other 50% is practicing every single question given to you by us at least once. चलो इसके ऊपर भी we will do a separate, after I give you the module, I will do a separate class on practicing MCQs and strategies for the final 3 months also. Okay, so don't worry about that. We will discuss at length how to go about solving, how to make a schedule. So don't worry about that. Let us move on to part 4, which is recognizing good arguments. And this has 3 parts, 3 subparts rather. More argumentation key terms. Some key terms we had already discussed. Valid and invalid arguments and sound and unsound arguments. Now, recognizing a good argument. The premises must all be true or plausible to a given audience. And this is called the truth condition. And the second, the conclusion must logically flow from the premises. This is called the logic condition. Let's see an example. All actors are robots. Tom Cruise is an actor. Therefore, Tom Cruise is a robot. See, here the premise is false because all actors are not robots, obviously. So, to the given audience, it is not true. So, the truth condition is not fulfilled. But the logic condition is fulfilled. This is good logic because the conclusion follows logically from the premise. The premise is all actors are robots. Tom Cruise is an actor, therefore, Tom Cruise is a robot. This is good logic. The second premise, Tom Cruise is an actor, is true premise. But the first premise is not true, it is false. So the premises must all be true. This condition is not fulfilled in this example. Truth condition is not fulfilled in this example. But the conclusion, which is therefore Tom Cruise is a robot, follows logically from the assumption premises, which is why it is good logic. So the logic condition is followed, but the truth condition is not followed. Similarly, in the second example, all tigers are mammals. Tony is a mammal, therefore Tony is a tiger. All tigers are mammals. True premise. Tony is a mammal. True premise. Therefore Tony is a tiger. Is this a good argument? Truth condition followed, logic condition followed. All tigers are mammals. Tony is a mammal, therefore Tony is a tiger. Acha, so my question to you guys what is this a good argument? My question is this a good argument? Acha. If yes, then
No, sir.
you will. Acha, why not?
The
Sir,
logic is bad.
yeah.
The logic is bad. Correct. All tigers are mammal. Tony is a mammal. Therefore, Tony is a tiger. That is not all. If it had been all mammals are tigers, then it would have been good logic, right? Then it would have been good logic, but false premise. Chalo, excellent. Now, can someone read this slide, please? And then I'll explain. Chalo, I'll only read. Don't worry.
So should I read?
I don't worry. I'll only do it. So, what is a valid argument? And a valid argument is an argument whose premises logically lead to its conclusion. To say that an argument is valid is to say that it is logically impossible for its premises to be true and its conclusion to be false. ठीक है? Any questions? Issues? Invalid. If an argument is invalid, then it is possible for the conclusion to be false, even if all the premises are true. Now, what is an unsound argument? An unsound argument has at least one false premise. Sound argument, only true premises. Now, do you understand these four terms? If you understand these four terms, then you give me examples. of valid argument, of invalid argument, of unsound argument, of sound argument. Examples? Just give me some example, one example of each, and then we'll move ahead to inductive and deductive reasoning.
So
Anyone?
an example of unsound.
Sorry.
So
Hmm. Go ahead, John. John, were you trying to say something?
yes, sir. I was saying an example of unsound argument.
Hmm. Okay, go ahead.
Um, like all mammals are tigers, and Tony is a tiger mammal. So um,
Tony is a mammal. That is
Tony
what.
is a tiger. Yeah.
Correct. It has one false premise. That false premise is that all mammals are tigers. Now, an argument that is valid and contains only true premises. That is the sound argument.
So,
Yes, Yakshita.
yeah, I was telling an example for valid argument.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyone who lives in Delhi also lives in India, is known to live in India.
Okay. Can you explain how? Why is it
Because
logically impossible for the premise to be true and the conclusion to be false?
uh, logically impossible. Because Delhi is a part of India.
Delhi is India's capital, so Delhi will always be in India,
Yeah.
obviously. Correct. Very good, valid argument. Now, invalid argument. Similarly, invalid argument.
So invalid argument. All crows are black.
Hmm.
Cow is black, therefore cow is a crow.
Okay, correct. So, sound argument is where it is valid and not unsound. Valid argument is only it is invalid, not invalid. Sound argument is it is not unsound. Very good, very well done. Now, inductive reasoning. A process of reasoning in which we use small specific examples or observation to reach a big general rule, conclusion, or theory. Deductive reasoning. A process of reasoning in which we start with a general rule or conclusion and look to see whether specific evidence supports or fits that previously held belief. So, induction always means going from small to bigger, small to big induction. Or how will you go from big to small? What does the meaning of deduct? Deduct means subtract. You subtract anything from big, big becomes small. So when you go from big to small, you are deducting. So you are using deductive reasoning. और उसका opposite ऐसे याद रखना है. Big to small, deduction. Deduction मतलब subtraction. Deductive reasoning going from big to small. Inductive reasoning going from small to big. Okay. Now, let's look at these in details. A valid argument has this property: if all the premises are true, the conclusion cannot be false. That is, if you were to imagine that all the premises were true, then conclusion will always be true. which we saw in the example Chakshita gave. Logic guarantees of the truth of the conclusion. Chalo. We have understood this, we have discussed an example also. Now, this valid argument. This is a valid argument. If anyone has any issues, any concerns, say now, or I will think that you have all agreed that this is a valid argument. Everyone agrees, valid argument. If all the premises are true, then conclusion is obviously true. Moving on. Tom is happy only if the Tigers win. The Tigers lost, therefore Tom is not happy. This argument is in the form of if A, then B, A, therefore B. So if Tigers lose, then Tom is not happy. The Tigers lost, therefore Tom is not happy. If A, then B, A, therefore B. When we say if A, then B, it means that every time A is true, then B is true. And every time A is false, then B is false. Okay? This is the valid argument form. Chalo, an important point to remember about the terminology. That contract is valid, you make a valid point. Ordinary language usage, not logical usage. In argument analysis, validity is a logical property of whole arguments, not of individual claims. So, when you have to determine whether an argument is valid, you have to look at the entire argument. You don't have to look at only the premise or only the other premise or only the conclusions. You have to look at the entire argument. Now, these are two valid argument forms. If P then Q, P therefore Q. We have seen this. वैसे ही if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If you have not understood, if anyone has not understood, just let me know. Then we can discuss these examples. Otherwise, we can go ahead. एक बार पढ़ लो, example देख लो एक बार. If after that you need any help, then just let me know. Okay, let's move ahead. Again, either P or Q, not P, therefore Q. Matlab, if there was an option of P or Q, if P does not happen, then obviously Q happens. Next, if P then Q, if Q then R. If P happens, then Q necessarily happens. And if Q happens, then R necessarily happens. Therefore, if P happens, then R happens. Now, if John gets a raise, then he will buy a house. If P, John gets a raise, then he will buy a house, Q. If John buys a house, Q, he will run for the city council, R. Therefore, if P, then R. Understood? If a plane is flying, it is in the air. Flight 999 is in air, flying, therefore it is in the air. If P then Q, P, therefore Q. Okay? Hmm. Okay, guys, so if there are clouds in the sky, then rain is possible. No rain is possible, therefore no clouds in the sky. If P then Q, not Q, therefore not P. Take very simple. Either P or Q, not P, therefore Q. Elizabeth owns a Honda or owns a Saturn. She doesn't own a Honda, therefore she owns a Saturn. All toasters are items made of gold. P, Q, all P are Q, all Q are R, therefore all P are R. All items made of gold are time travel devices, therefore all toasters are time travel devices. Now, let us stop here. Invalid arguments we will do in the next class. Okay, any questions, any doubts, any issues, any concerns, any feedback, any request, any help, any suggestion, any recommendation, any review?